I work in the English department. I also work for mature learning and community education, doing creative writing classes there. And I'm the Poet Laureate for Clark County and the host of the Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, which has been in town for 12 years. And I mention that because I don't think that I would have gotten the position of Clark County Poet Laureate if it wasn't for the community building that I did through that series. A Poet Laureate is basically, I see it as like the first point of contact for people who have no knowledge of poetry whatsoever. Maybe they're curious about it, maybe they've heard a little about it here and there, but they don't really know exactly what it is. A Poet Laureate is somebody who is there, their purpose is to be the person who can talk to those people and answer their questions, and also talk to those people who have been doing it much longer. Really happy that the series is still around. Sometimes poetry readings will peter out after a year or two, and we still have a good crowd and people coming after 12 years. So I'm pretty proud that people like it enough that they're still coming. You know, it's the only thing that would make me stop doing it, other than dying, obviously, is if people were not interested anymore. Like if they stopped and they're not. And one of the things I use in my poetry is overheard conversation. So the Ghost Town poems have a lot of sort of overheard dialogue from like Clark College, or being on the bus. I've done a lot of riding the bus and just writing down what people say, because I think there's a music in that language. I don't really like rules. I don't like time limits. I don't like telling people what to do. It's just not my style. And I've noticed that at the readings that I've done, the readings I've been to where there was time limits or there were live disclaimers that were read by the host at the beginning, that's when human nature kicks in and they hijack the mic and they do 20 minutes or whatever. So we've taken not even the path of least resistance, but no resistance, and I don't make any statements at all about how much they should do or how long, and I let them kind of self-police. I also do poems that are kind of like, I call them collage poems, where I'm arranging lines from other people's poetry, from overheard conversations, stuff from the radio or wherever, magazines, any place that I might find something that's interesting, because I always had a process in my work where over like a 3 to 6 month period I would write in fragments, just a few lines here and there, without worrying about what form it's going to take, and then like look at them when I kind of feel like it's time. It's hard to explain, and try to look for the connections, and then start to, by finding those relationships, begin to build poems that way. So sometimes I do that with things that are just directly originally from my head, and sometimes I do it using other people's work. I'm from New York originally, and when I first got here, I got to Washington State in 2001 and to Vancouver in 2003. It freaked me out that I could walk down the street in the middle of the day and see no people. I'd never encountered this. Even on Long Island, where I grew up, which is not as busy as New York City, all hours of the day, there's people, there's noise, there's stuff going on. So at first it was kind of a sarcastic thing, you know, like a put down maybe of Vancouver that, you know, that was so empty. But then like later on, as I began to become part of the arts community here and try to build the literary arts part of the community here, and I found out there was this tension between, or this inferiority complex with Portland being the bigger, hipper city, I understood that dynamic because it's the same thing with Long Island and New York. So over time it became a more affectionate nickname, and it became more about the writers in Vancouver saying the stuff that we're doing in Vancouver is as cool, it's as high quality as anything that's happening in Portland.